record. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and share my screen. We are talking about service projects, and we do have our service challenge that's going on in April. Why can I not find? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share this Chrome. All right, so just a few upcoming events. There's Steer and Dairy Tag In tonight if you are involved in that project, and then a few other things going on. We're gearing up, getting ready for summer camps and summer classes, so we should have that guide out. Our next volunteer training would be the 21st, but there's plenty of stuff happening. You can check out the calendar or social media if you have any questions. So we're going to talk about service today. Like I said, April is National Youth Service Month, and so the State 4-H has been doing a service challenge for people to go out and just serve your community. We want to be doing a lot more service projects in our own county, and so I felt like it would be a good idea to do this kind of training before clubs started meeting, because when you do service as a club, it's just a really important thing to be doing. Now, these are just some obvious things, like why do you need to serve? Like, why do youth need to be involved in service? It helps them to grow. That's why I have this like little guy, he's like watering. It helps them to grow and to learn. It helps them to communicate better. When they have to plan something and coordinate with a bunch of different moving parts, they learn better how to communicate with each other, to communicate with adults and maybe businesses that they're helping out. It also helps them to prioritize their time because they only have a certain amount of days or weeks to plan an event. So if they don't know how to prioritize something, then they could fall behind. So planning a service activity is a really good thing for youth to practice. I put this little megaphone on because it gives them leadership opportunities, like the ability to round up other people in their club to say, hey, we're going to go down to the park and clean up trash, or this like person next door to me, like she had a tree fall down, and then this little symbol is kind of a universal sign for resilience. I didn't know, like you push back and it springs back. And there's been research that has been done that shows that youth who serve are more resilient than youth who don't serve. So when they have hard times in their life, they're more able to bounce back in healthy ways. And then obviously they're more caring, and it looks really good on resumes and scholarships. Having service hours in high school was like such a big deal because you could get a special award, and it just showed that you were involved in the community, and it looked really good on resumes. So I just wanted to do a quick activity. This is a concept that was kind of popularized by Dr. Dave Schramm. He's a USU Extension professor, and he says to take a week and text 2 people before 10 a.m. every morning, something about like, I'm thinking of you, I appreciate you, I'm grateful you're in my life, like how you doing, that kind of thing. And then do it for a month, and then do it for 2 months, and just see how it changes your life. And the whole point behind this kind of service, I think we so often think that service has to be these like big, like raking leaves or cleaning up trash, when really service is just anything that is kind to others that doesn't have any like specific rewards for you. Like you're not doing it to get paid. So this 2 before 10 is a really fun concept that I thought we could try. So I want you to get out your phone, and I'm going to do it too, and then text 2 people, like the first 2 people that come to your mind, like what you're thankful for, and just send them a quick text. And I know it's 10:38, but I'm going to send 2 texts right now. So I'm going to send one to my cousin. That just says like, hey, thinking of you. Hope you have an awesome day. She's 12, down in Cedar City, and she just got a phone. And so she thinks like this is the coolest thing ever. So I love when I can text her. And then I'm going to text one other person. So I'm going to text a friend who is graduating from college this month, and she's probably really overwhelmed. So I'm just going to send her like a pep talk. So this is like a really, really, oh, that's funny. They're both named Allie. I didn't even think about that. That is funny. Anyway, so this is a really simple service you can have youth do. So maybe at a club meeting, you say, hey, everybody, we're going to do a quick service project. And they're like, what? Say, like, most people have phones. If they don't have phones, that's fine. They can write a letter or something. And just say, we're going to text 2 people and just tell them that you love them, tell them you appreciate them, give them some encouragement, and just start your club meeting with a quick service project. Like, this is a really simple thing anybody can do. Okay, so if we're moving on, so many youth I think they want to do service, but when it's like called a service project, I think they like gawk at it a little bit. So we're gonna, instead of calling it a service project, say a service adventure. Say, we're gonna go on this adventure, we're gonna go and do all these really fun things for other people and keep them engaged, make it a contest, make it fun. Instead of dictating what they're going to do, let them give you ideas. And we'll talk about this in a minute, like how to engage them with like guiding questions, but let them give you ideas as to what they want to do for a project. So when I was a youth and I would hear service project, it was always raking leaves for the widowers, like in my town. And I hated it. But when I grew up and I learned that service can also be things like sending a text, or the big thing during quarantine in my neighborhood was heart attack people's doors and say like, we love you. Or maybe you plan an event for little kids in your neighborhood to come and learn about 4-H. Like, that's a service project. Like, teach them an activity, teach them a skill that they might not have otherwise had. Or maybe you donate food to the food pantry or produce to the food pantry when your gardens are in session. Instead of sermonizing the importance and going on and on about them in club meetings, ask guiding questions to help them to see why we do service. They already get talked to so much at school. 4-H should be an opportunity for them to use their voice and to ask them questions that help them get going on what they want to do. And then instead of dictating perfection, let the youth fail. Like, we learned that in teen council last summer. We tried to plan an event, nobody signed up. And I said, what happened? Like, what went wrong? And they learned from it, and they learned we need to plan earlier, we need to have more communication. And so when you're doing these service adventures with the kids, like, let them fail. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world if something doesn't go perfectly right. And that's coming from a recovering perfectionist, that you can't dictate perfection to these kids or they're not going to do anything. Okay, so I don't know if you remember this movie, I, Robot. It was like a super popular movie when a few years ago. And I always hated this robot because he would always say like, I'm sorry, my responses are limited. You must ask the right question. And I had a friend who would say that to me to just bug me, like, you must ask the right question. But when I was thinking about this presentation, I think that's how it is to work with kids. Like, their responses are very limited. And I think, again, it goes back to in school, they're taught to just regurgitate information back, where in 4-H, we should be helping them to use brainstorming techniques and to get them to engage with us. And to do that, we have to ask the right questions. So think of open-ended questions to get the conversation going. Like, what problems do you see at school? Like, what issues are in our community? How can we better our city? I really like asking, like, what are you personally, like, think about what you're personally struggling with and what would others in your situation want? Like, what would you want? And that helps them to think about, like, they don't have to share their own personal problems, but they can think about, oh, I really struggle with making friends in new classes. Like, when we start a new trimester and I don't know anybody, it's really hard for me. So what if we did like a friendship challenge as a club, where we went out and we tried to meet people and went out of our way to introduce ourselves at the beginning of the try? Or what are you passionate about? What if you have a youth who is very, very passionate about, say, like computer, like graphic design. And maybe for a service, he makes a bunch of like happy, like uplifting posters. And as a club, you take them around to community and just say like, we love you. Or maybe, you learn that there's a refugee in your area who just needs some friends, and you guys decide to plan like a block party to invite this family out. So think of outside the box. Service isn't just cleaning up trash or raking leaves. This is a technique that I learned. So I did drama and theater in high school, and I'm still very involved in the theater community here in Cache Valley. This is a phrase that we use when we're doing improv. So if we're doing improv and I decide that, hey, we're on a desert island and it crashed, and the only thing we have left is pineapple juice and beef jerky. Improv technique says, say yes, and instead of like shutting down the idea. So when I'm doing an improv scene, I come in and I say, yes, and there's a volcano that's exploding. Yes, and the sky, like the clouds are gathering. Yes, and there's a giant turkey that's chasing us around. So when you're brainstorming with kids on activities, whether it's service or other, say yes, and. Like if they say, hey, we want to go learn about how hydroponic farming works. Yes, and we want to grow our own tomatoes. Yes, and we could donate those tomatoes to the food pantry. So you see how it like connects your thought process, and it helps kids to not feel shut down when we give them ideas. Or let's say you're trying to teach them something. We did an activity for a club meeting this week where they tried to build a paper tower, and I didn't give them any instructions except for build the tower. And about halfway through, one of the girls said, well, what are we building this for? Like, is it supposed to support something, or is it the tallest tower? And the conversation we then had afterwards was about listening to instructions, asking clarifying questions. And so while we were talking, they were like, you know, you got to have better communication. I said, yes. And what? And then it was a really good conversation. So learning this phrase will help as you engage youth to be better like planners of their own activities. So this is like a ton of service project ideas, and I don't expect anybody to read this. The point of this was just to show that there are so many things, like practice random acts of kindness, volunteer at a charity auction, volunteer as a counselor at a local summer camp. Maybe your club puts on a craft camp for little kids and you charge a little more, or you don't charge at all and that's just your service is to help kids. Volunteer at the food pantry, design a game for young children. I really want to know what make a Halloween safety kit for youth would look like. Like, is that like a flashlight and that kind of stuff? So anyway, those are just so many ideas, and you can get down to nitty gritty. Like maybe you have a bunch of livestock kids. Maybe you offer to do a free showmanship clinic, and you say, hey, we're going to have this clinic at our club meeting. Anybody's welcome to come, and you teach kids how to show their animals. Or our dog club, for their service project, I think it was back in January, they gathered old towels to donate to the animal shelter. Or maybe with cooking, like you like make treats for families and you bring them around that you know of in your area. So there's lots of different things that you can do with this. So this is just a QR code. I'll put this PowerPoint in the drive. You can like look it up, but there's like 113 ideas on this document of service ideas that aren't just raking leaves and like, I don't know. As a kid, that was always like the service project was raking leaves. I hate it. So are there any questions, comments, or ideas for dinner tonight? Because I don't know what to make. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I mean, I think that's about it. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think I have any questions, but I think those are some great ideas and got me thinking a little bit more about service. And we actually have a service planned for today, this afternoon.
Make sure to take pictures so you can maybe win pizza.
Oh, we're planning on it.
You can text them or email them to me. I'll go ahead and stop this recording now.